Welcome to day 20 of our 31-day series studying the moral and practical advice found in the book of Proverbs intended to help us live virtuous and meaningful lives. Start by reading today's passage, and then take a closer look at the message. Wine is a mocker and beer a brawler. Whoever is led astray by them is not wise. A king's wrath strikes terror like the roar of a lion. Those who anger him forfeit their lives. It is to one's honor to avoid strife, but every fool is quick to quarrel. Sluggards do not plow in season, so at harvest time they look but find nothing. The purposes of a person's heart are deep waters, but one who has insight draws them out. Many claim to have unfailing love, but a faithful person who can find? The righteous lead blameless lives, blessed are their children after them. When a king sits on his throne to judge, he winnows out all evil with his eyes. Who can say, I have kept my heart pure, I am clean and without sin? Differing weights and differing measures, the Lord detests them both. Even small children are known by their actions, so is their conduct really pure and upright. Ears that hear and eyes that see, the Lord has made them both. Do not love sleep or you will grow poor. Stay awake and you will have food to spare. It's no good, says the buyer, then goes off and boasts about the purchase. Gold there is, and rubies in abundance, but lips that speak knowledge are a rare jewel. Take the garment of one who puts up security for a stranger, hold it in pledge if it is done for an outsider. Food gained by fraud tastes sweet, but one ends up with a mouth full of gravel. Plans are established by seeking advice, so if you wage war, obtain guidance. A gossip betrays a confidence, so avoid anyone who talks too much. If someone curses their father or mother, their lamp will be snuffed out in pitch darkness. An inheritance claimed too soon will not be blessed at the end. Do not say, I'll pay you back for this wrong. Wait for the Lord, and he will avenge you. The Lord detests differing weights, and dishonest scales do not please him. A person's steps are directed by the Lord. How then can anyone understand their own way? It is a trap to dedicate something rashly and only later to consider one's vows. A wise king winnows out the wicked. He drives the threshing wheel over them. The human spirit is the lamp of the Lord that sheds light on one's inmost being. Love and faithfulness keep a king safe. Through love his throne is made secure. The glory of young men is their strength, gray hair the splendor of the old. Blows and wounds scrub away evil, and beatings purge the inmost being. Proverbs 20 is a chapter full of wisdom and insight. In this devotional, we will explore 10 of the key verses from this chapter and reflect on their meaning and application in our own lives. First, let's look at Proverbs chapter 20 verse 1, which says, Wine is a mocker, strong drink a brawler, and whoever is led astray by it is not wise. This verse reminds us of the dangers of alcohol and its ability to lead us astray and make us foolish. Alcohol can cause us to act in ways we would not normally act and can lead to conflict and trouble. It is important for us to avoid excessive drinking and to stay sober and in control of our actions. Next, let's consider Proverbs chapter 20 verse 3, which says, It is an honor for a man to keep aloof from strife, but every fool will be quarreling. This verse reminds us of the value of peace and harmony. When we avoid conflict and strife, we are showing respect and honor for ourselves and others. But when we engage in foolish arguments and quarrels, we bring shame and disgrace upon ourselves. It is better to avoid conflict and preserve peace whenever possible. Third, let's look at Proverbs chapter 20 verse 5, which says, The purposes of a man's heart are deep waters, but a man of understanding draws them out. This verse reminds us that our thoughts and intentions are often difficult to understand and discern. But when we have understanding and wisdom, we are able to probe deeply and uncover the true motives and desires of our hearts. It is important for us to seek wisdom and understanding, so that we can better understand ourselves and others. Fourth, let's consider Proverbs chapter 20 verse 7, which says, The righteous who walks in his integrity, blessed are his children after him. This verse reminds us of the importance of living a righteous and upright life. When we are true to our values and principles, we are not only blessed ourselves, but we also bless our children and future generations. Our character and integrity have a lasting impact on those around us, and it is important for us to strive to be righteous and godly. Fifth, let's look at Proverbs chapter 20 verse 9, which says, Who can say, I have made my heart pure, I am clean from my sin? This verse reminds us of the pervasive nature of sin and our inability to rid ourselves of it completely. No matter how hard we try, we cannot make our hearts pure and free from sin. Only God has the power to cleanse us and forgive us of our sins. It is important for us to humbly acknowledge our sinfulness and seek God's forgiveness and grace. Sixth, let's consider Proverbs chapter 20 verse 11, which says, "Even a child makes himself known by his acts, by whether his conduct is pure and upright." This verse reminds us that our actions speak louder than our words. Even a child is able to show who they are and what they stand for through their conduct and behavior. It is important for us to live out our values and principles in our actions, so that others may see the truth of who we are. Seventh, let's look at Proverbs chapter 20 verse 15, which says, "There is gold and abundance of costly stones, but the lips of knowledge are a precious jewel." This verse reminds us of the value of knowledge and wisdom. Material possessions and riches may be abundant, but they pale in comparison to the preciousness of knowledge and understanding. It is important for us to seek knowledge and wisdom, for they are truly priceless and invaluable. Eighth, let's consider Proverbs chapter 20 verse 22, which says, "Do not say, 'I will repay evil,' wait for the Lord, and he will deliver you." This verse reminds us of the importance of patience and trust in God. When we are wronged or mistreated, it can be tempting to seek revenge and pay back evil for evil. But this is not the way of the righteous. Instead, we must wait on the Lord and trust that he will deliver us from evil and bring about justice in his own time. Ninth, let's look at Proverbs chapter 20 verse 24, which says, "A man's steps are from the Lord, how then can man understand his way?" This verse reminds us of the sovereignty of God and his control over our lives. We may think that we are in charge of our own actions and decisions, but in reality, it is the Lord who directs our steps and guides our paths. We may not always understand why things happen or why we are faced with certain challenges, but we can trust that God is working everything out for our good and his glory. Finally, let's consider Proverbs chapter 20 verse 28, which says, "Steadfast love and faithfulness preserve the king, and by steadfast love his throne is upheld." This verse reminds us of the importance of love and faithfulness in leadership. When a king or leader is guided by love and faithfulness, they are able to rule justly and uprightly. But when they lack these virtues, their kingdom and authority are weakened and vulnerable. It is important for leaders to cultivate love and faithfulness in their hearts and actions, so that they may be preserved and strengthened in their rule. In conclusion, Proverbs 20 is a rich and valuable chapter that offers us wisdom and guidance for living a godly and fulfilling life. May we reflect on these verses and apply their lessons in our own lives, so that we may grow in wisdom, understanding, and righteousness. I hope you had a good spiritual workout. If you like this content, please consider liking and subscribing to our channel.